I think we're live now. Everybody say hi.
Good evening.
We're alive too. Hello. All right. Everyone got the memo. Please be on time. Let's see what's on the show today. I'm going to give you a maple syrup update. Also, Lisa scares the crap out of me. We went to the Valley of Fire.
Mhm.
The pandemic is still messing things up that you might not be aware of. Also, because we have Shawn Alexander on with us, the entire internet may be changed dramatically by the Supreme Court soon.
Yeah.
We will talk about Ed Kelly and how he is becoming a movie star. And I'll give you a Spike and Joe update. Spike may join us later for a bit, but we'll be doing a special program with Spike and Joe. So that's what's coming up. All right, I think that's too long. I think what we really need is about 10-second countdown, and we need some special effects. What happened to Lucasfilms? They were supposed to help us with this.
Delusions of
Welcome,
grandeur.
everybody. Yeah. So we have a fun evening for you this evening. We're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. If you're watching us on Facebook, you're like most people. Most people do that. I don't know if Facebook will completely ban us if I say it's better on YouTube. Do you think their algorithms know if I whisper that?
AI. Says Chat
AI.
GPT.
Yeah.
I can't answer anything without
Like
authority.
they've just blacklisted me. But if you listen to, or if you watch us live on YouTube, then what happens is, well, you can like and subscribe, you get notifications when we're on, and you can watch all the episodes on demand anytime. If you love us on Facebook, what happens is, and this is the thing about Facebook is this immediacy thing. Like you go to Facebook to see, what do my friends do in the last day? What did Ed Kelly have for dinner? And by the way,
Hot
my
dogs.
grandchildren, my kids, they're not on Facebook. It's mostly for seniors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's become the CB radio of the new millennium.
Exactly. And what happens is, and by the way, this could completely destroy our Facebook numbers. I have a theory that it will. But what happens is Facebook, in a day or so, this gets buried deeper and deeper. And unless you can navigate their maze of going to the person's individual page and feed, because, oh yeah, I want to check it out. But I have had a Facebook account now for as long as they've been around.
Mm-hmm.
And I still can't figure out how to switch between things because they keep changing it. Like, I have a Bob Rivers show one, which is the main one for the show. And then I have a Bob Rivers one. And I didn't know the difference. My Bob Rivers one, when I got 5,000 people, it said, no person should have that many friends. And that was it. I was done. So we did a Bob Rivers show one, where you can have as many friends as you want.
Yeah.
But as soon as you post something on it, Facebook says, yeah, it's so cool you have 100,000 friends. You know, if you give us some money, we'll boost your post, and some of them might see it.
You got pimped.
Well, in other words, I brought you, I think it's like 150,000. I brought you 150,000 people, and you're going to sell them back to me.
Yeah.
And that's really, and by the way, it's genius. I mean,
And they're stealing all the loaves and fishes as they go.
So anyway, that's why I mentioned at the top of this broadcast, which no one watches this on, by the way. And we're streamed now on YouTube. We're streamed on Facebook live. We're on demand, of course, on those two places if you know how to find it. And then the podcast is on every podcast platform there is. And since we started streaming, and I wouldn't have predicted this, since you've been able to see our faces, the audience size has tripled.
Wow. That's amazing because these are some old ass faces. Sorry, Joe.
We must look okay compared to some of you, or it must look good. Look how bad they look. Like Lisa and I, anytime we feel old or we feel like we're looking bad, just go to Walmart.
Yeah. Seeger did a song about it called Looking Back. Yeah.
Yeah. Go to Walmart. I'm a 10 in Walmart.
You're not a Walmartian?
I'm a 4 everywhere else. All right. We got a little bit of echo. I don't know where it's coming from.
I don't either.
I could find out. It's probably you. Zip. Let's see if it's there. Ah, busted. It's you,
Is that
Zip.
it?
Way
I fixed it,
down
right?
inside. Woman. You need.
Can I just point out one thing?
Yes.
Every time,
Yes. Okay, go ahead.
every time you tried to connect me, you called my phone. I've been using my new Pixel 7 Pro
Right.
phone as the webcam. So that's why I kept getting disconnected. That's where the technical problem, it emanated from your end, Bob.
I understand. And it still amazes me that Zip makes professional video commercials for a living. He's using his phone. He's lit like someone in a horror movie who's about to be.
What's wrong with my lighting? No,
Oh, great. Fantastic. Speaking of that, since we started doing this, I'm now on my Logitech Brio camera. I'm not on the
Yeah, I noticed
4K DSLR because the DSLR would have to be right here in order, you know what I mean? And I have this big computer screen, so I haven't figured out all this stuff yet. So anyway,
Don't bring in a drone. I know him.
yeah. But to finish the preamble,
Yes.
we appreciate you being here live. We'll also we have our web developer who does not like to be on the stream. There he is, Dave.
He
Um,
doesn't.
When you send your comments to us, when you like and comment and do all of that, he will put them up sometimes, and of course they'll all live in infamy on Zuckerberg's servers
Yesterday,
and the
December
Googleverse.
7th,
Yeah.
1941.
Now, Ed, your mic volume just went down.
Uh-oh. What
Oh,
went down?
that's better. That's
No.
better.
You're a
gotta get it close.
voiceover talent, Ed. Proximity
This is what Ed
effect
does
and
for a
all that
living.
Good
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. I was doing old school radio.
Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
You said infamy, and it just was a cue. I'm sorry.
Let's begin the show with the big news. Ed sent us a link last week that he was starring in a movie. And he felt he was typecast as a Canadian, which I believe is true, because you were a hockey coach, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And by the way, I had no idea this was coming, and I love Ed, and he's had a storied career over the years. Worked with famous people, been on radio coast to coast, and does commercials. Someday we got to tell the Bell Tire story, but I don't know if we'll do it tonight.
Okay.
Is that that got squashed, right?
I think I haven't seen the publication, but I'll let you know.
Okay. So Ed sends us this movie that he's in. And I thought, and by the way, when someone sends you something, often it's, this is what I had for dinner last night or something boring. And I said, well, I got to watch this because Ed is, he's a big major talent. And I'm so happy he's got a film role. So it's him basically teaching sex ed. Is that right?
Yes.
As a coach.
Yes.
You got to turn up your mic a little bit. Ed.
I was a substitute teacher. Yes.
Okay. Substitute gym teacher.
Well, a substitute health class teacher.
Oh.
Coach filling in, hockey coach filling in. And the opening lines were penis, vagina, sperm, egg,
Right.
And then I proceeded to read the riot act to these young boys about how to wrap that rascal or lose it.
Wrap that rascal.
Yeah.
So you were basically and you were telling young boys, we know you're going to have sex, but just be careful not to have a baby, right?
Yeah.
And then the next part of the film. By the way, who had sex education in school? Raise your hand.
I was sex ed. They called me that.
Sex ed. I love it. So we all had it in school. Whose parents, and a comedian did this on stage the other night, and it was amazing, the statistics. Whose parents never had to talk with them about sex because they figured it was taken care of at school? Raise your hand. Wow. 75%.
Wow.
In a very scientific poll of old white guys.
What a mathematician.
Yeah. And you know what it was? We were Catholic, and my parents...
I wasn't.
My parents and I never talked about sex for our entire lives.
They never had sex after you. For crying out loud.
They were.
No, I'm the oldest of 8, so yes, they did.
Okay.
How about you, Zip?
No, never. My mother was from Topeka, Kansas. She was stoic, and anything that made her uncomfortable, she avoided the topic like crazy, and that was a major topic to avoid.
Right.
Entirely.
So similar in that she never said anything, gave you any advice, or even acknowledged that such a thing as sex existed. I mean, seriously, that's how it was with my parents.
I could barely get your father was attractive out of her. I remember I was like, why did you marry Dad? And she said, well, he was attractive. And I said, I've never heard you say anything remotely close to that. She was extremely stoic.
Notice such a thing?
Wow. She was very, very provincial, I guess. Is that the word?
Buttoned up, Victorian?
Yes, really buttoned up. Not Victorian, but just very stoic.
Why do you think that is, by the way, that they, I mean, now, well, certainly they would, if they could have known the internet was coming, they all would have committed harry-carry. No one was coming down the pike.
Well, for one thing, Bob, if they showed any kind of sexual desire, they'd drill a hole in the top of their head, give them a lobotomy for even doing such a thing, or put them away in a cage. She's not going to bring home a baby.
But interestingly,
it was anger or prevention. Yeah.
Eventually he did. Yeah.
My mother was a flight attendant and my father was a pilot. And they met in the airlines.
She was a trade tramp. Come on.
Okay.
Flight
Larry
attendant.
King.
Who do you think you're trying to fool? Flight attendant. Hey, honey, where's my drink? Oh!
All respect to your mom.
With no respect for your mom.
She was a wonderful lady. She was.
And so was mine. Mine was a saint. She was an angel. She went St. Peter was like, just get in here. Right? Yeah, I recognize your face. It's no
And
problem.
mine was Mrs. Doubtfire. Complete with the accent. Oh, Eddie, you're no right in the head.
Shawn, you had parents who actually talked to you about the facts of life.
That's right. My dad did take me aside and gave me the talk.
Just dad, not dad and mom.
No, not dad and mom.
What'd
They
you
were
say?
divorced at this time.
Okay.
They were separated.
Yeah, but they're not going to get together for this then. Yeah.
No.
How many from a divorced family while we're doing the scientific polls here? 50%. I figure. See, I'm using your methodology here.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Not by choice, though. My mother's original husband was killed in the war, was lost in the war, and my father did get divorced. So what am I? Half? Step divorced?
Wait a minute.
I don't know.
What does that even mean?
I don't know what you call that.
Good evening, Martin. What does that mean?
No, I was just,
Well, she was a widower and then was divorced.
But when you were growing up,
she was married. Both my parents were married before they got married. But my mother's original husband was lost in the war. My father divorced his first wife.
Your parents, the parents that sired you did not divorce, right?
Yeah, I guess, yes.
The fact
All
that they
right.
have divorce in their history, that's like saying back in grade school, you were a slut. No.
Yeah, I don't think that counts.
He was sired. Do we have to?
Well, I thought
do we have to refer to him as sire now?
Yeah. But it
My father
ended
was
up
put
being
out to stud, and
sure. Okay. And Shawn, your dad had to talk with you. How explicit was he? Was he fairly specific, or was
He was very specific.
okay? Yeah.
Don't play hide the weenie.
No, it was not. Don't. Be careful how you do.
Oh,
Be careful how
Sean,
you-
if you're going to take the skin bus to Tuna Town, be sure to close the doors
That's right.
on the bus.
Okay.
That's what we're
aren't you
saying.
glad you joined this program, Sean?
Hang on a second.
Oh yeah.
Would someone please pull my finger? That's no. So anyway, so this film that Ed's in, where he plays the substitute teacher teaching sex ed.
Pull the goalie. Yes.
The next thing that happens in this film is the kid that he was lecturing about not getting someone pregnant is married and trying to get someone pregnant.
Correct. Well, no,
And-
actually, it's the young man, and I have a talk
Yeah.
with him, and I give him the dog tags and all that, and then they segue into him as an adult. Yes.
Right. And then but the whole movie is about they couldn't have kids and he was trying to get pregnant. So his wife is sitting there and she's looking at the pregnancy test and she's disappointed. And I'm like, wait a minute. I was confused in the film because I was like, no, you don't want to have a baby, right? And then the whole thing turned out to be about couples who have trouble conceiving, right?
Infertility, yeah, which my
Yeah.
brother experienced in his marriage. Yeah.
And it's a heavy duty thing with that. I know a
Yes.
few people who've been through that.
And my niece.
So-
was-
So I watched this whole movie about infertility for this many reasons, because once Ed's part was done,
yeah.
I kept thinking, how are they going to bring back the sex ed teacher? And you never came back in the movie.
I wasn't bookended. No, I open a lot of movies actually, and then I go away, and
Yeah.
I'm white.
So that's an accomplishment. Is that what you're saying? Officer
No,
friendly?
I'm just saying.
Oh.
In the old days, you knew if there was a black guy in the first 5 minutes, he was going to get it. That's the
Right,
guy that was
right.
going to get it in the movies. Just the way Hollywood works.
So
Now, is that short going to be like at Sundance or anything? Are they entering it? What are they? What's the final end
They've
use?
already had it. It's on YouTube. You can bring it up. So they're doing it that way. But what they're really looking to do is parlay that short into a full length feature.
okay.
So
So it's a demo. Okay. And you're up for? Are you up for a TV series too? Did you say something?
there is a pilot that I talked to the producer about today. They want to do a male version of Sex in the City. And
Wow.
yeah. And they said, "How are you about sexuality?" I thought, "Can we explain? Can you Can you elucidate? Can you expand on that a little bit? Well,
Yeah.
how do you feel about nudity?" And I'm going,
my own or others?
yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, you've seen me naked. Well, that's another story. He said there is implied sex, and then there is some nudity, and I went full frontal. He said, no full chest and butt. I said,
Buttocks.
yeah, yeah. I said, I'm an artist. I draw unemployment if I don't take this gig.
Sure. I don't know about you, but I don't consider buttocks nudity.
No, it's I mean, if the girls can walk around a thong, I'm not that that's something I'm prone to doing. I'm not talking about my weekends, but during the week, I don't see any shame in that. I don't think that the body is a shameful thing. I'm not saying that I'm a
Are you
creep
trying to
either.
gear yourself up to be more doing film than voice work? Or, now that AI is going to do all the voice work?
Well,
What's-
AA would help too, but no, I'm kidding. Well, it's a really precarious time to be expanding on a film career because celluloid has gone. Well, Zip is the expert on this. He'll tell you, celluloid is going the way of all flesh and everything's digital. Not that stops the movies, but CGI combined with AI, they are not going to have movie stars. They will make their own Cary Grants. They will make their own Jimmy Stewarts. They'll give up. They'll say, yeah, and they'll move
It's
plots
true.
around on a graph, and they'll give them inflections, and they'll know
Wait a
exactly how
minute.
to
You
plot
think
that stuff.
even movie stars are threatened?
Oh yeah. This is revolution. Have you been on Chat GPT?
Yeah, I do think some of it is hype. I mean, a whole lot of what human beings do in media
Yeah.
is talk about how this is going to destroy that.
Mm-hmm.
And
in radio, it happened.
not really. Oh, actually, I think
Come on.
radio is stronger than ever. Let's see.
Really.
What is radio? Michael Woodhouse says depends on the posterior. Yeah, there is some that is nudity. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
What do you like?
You're
What
splitting-
is radio to you? To me, it's audio entertainment. Is there a shortage of audio? That's like saying.
Don't
And remember,
split
this
hairs.
was said. Remember, this was said
Okay.
that digital cameras would destroy the film industry, and they did. Did they destroy picture taking? So, podcasting and the internet have made it challenging to put up a tower on top of a mountain and broadcast to a 50-mile radius and sell advertising spots. But did it hurt audio entertainment? And the movie theaters are struggling right now. If you get in your car and go see a film that someone spent $300 million making, but is there a shortage of stuff on your TV that's some of the golden age best entertainment ever made? So to think that the actors will be destroyed, they're human beings who are stars.
And
right?
so was Fred Flintstone.
I have to give you a score on that one. But
Based
Fred
on
couldn't.
honeymooners.
Yeah, Fred couldn't do a personal appearance. And I, as much as you're right, there'll be a lot of that. I don't think the human, like podcasting, AI could conceivably create a podcast about 4 old white guys discussing their medical problems and consulting with a lawyer on what the Supreme Court might do.
It would not have our history.
You know
One
where
guy's-
radio's getting banged up? Radio is getting banged up because of the on-demand, instant gratification aspect of it. You know what I mean? Especially for music
podcasting, yeah.
formats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although
yeah.
I don't
Essentially, I think that's
And
I
also-
think radio committed Harry Carey by removing personalities and automating so much and computerizing so much, because the remaining personalities, like our friend BJ Shea, like my dear departed friend Dory Monson, like your friend Mitch Albom that you're on with the Detroit, some of the big guys, and a lot of them are right-wing talk show hosts, but that's because that's what works with the advertisers that are still left and the aging white male audience that is still left. And the stars are still the stars. People will always want people to be stars. Name, besides Fred Flintstone.
Everybody is a star.
Yeah. Name a huge star. Name a bunch of huge stars that are fake and not real people.
Max Headroom.
And
Better
Max's
Call
time
Saul.
has come and gone pretty
Yes,
much like Where's the
but
Beef? Yeah.
But that was the precursor.
Yeah. Let's have Shawn weigh in. I know we're not to the legal segment yet, but
Well,
I know
no.
you always have very interesting thoughts
Well,
about
first
this
I
philosophy.
was going to talk about the radio aspect, is that the things that are still going, and then I see it, is traffic and sports.
Yeah.
And
Because
gambling.
And well, yeah. Well, my daughter does traffic.
timely information.
really?
Timely
Yeah.
information. I mean, current.
Things you can't time shift,
That's
Right.
right.
or you can,
Right.
but you don't want to.
Because they're not relevant.
The Super Bowl, I watched it live with the commercials. It's the only thing.
Event television left.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, I think, like I said, I think that's coming back. I think that we did a show a few weeks ago about Spotify or YouTube or any of them. All you got to do, like we're doing this show now for people that are watching it. We're doing it inside of a television studio that exists within a web browser. Literally, all the technology we need to do this is inside a web browser. And it's a subscription model. The company's making a ton of dough. And I don't get fancy with it because I don't care. But I mean, I could do this. Hey, I like that.
You don't get fancy. Here it comes,
Whole
kids.
show should be
Okay,
like this.
Zip, you remember Remember when you got left by the roadside all those years ago?
Yes.
Does this
I just
bring
felt
back
a
any
chill up my spine when he did that.
You know what this makes me feel like?
What?
Which makes me feel like I'm on the EIB radio network.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, but Bob, you're missing
Awful.
one important
Oh, man.
aspect, and that, of course, is a gold microphone. And I, of course, am having the back of this stitched with EIB in the weeks to come as soon as I can find a Guatemalan lady with a very, very cheap rate.
That's awesome. By the way, you see how this works? This is a merit-based system. Whichever one of you is kicking ass, I'll give you the whole screen. How's that? I can do all. Zip is like, just let me go back to sleep.
And we have got to unionize tonight. We have to unionize tonight.
All right.
Call the shop steward.
All in favor? Through the chair?
Sure. My point is that if here we can create a television show and make it on demand without having to go knock on a door, without having to meet a TV producer, without having to sell someone, without having to pitch it and get a time slot.
Sleep with the GM.
All of that. And it's a cool sleep with the GM.
PD.
That wouldn't work for any of us, by the way.
No.
Do you know anybody that slept their way to the top? Anybody?
I would never throw. My lips are sealed.
Can't
Oh,
comment.
you do? Okay. I don't. I
Nope.
don't.
Nope.
I'm not.
Not gonna do it.
Not
do that.
gonna do it. Sorry. I know Jimmy Carter died, but I'm stealing spotlight.
Did Jimmy pass away?
Yes, he
I
did.
just-
Oh, shoot.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Hospice?
Yeah.
I heard last I heard he was
Yeah.
just went to hospice.
No, that was I know I heard it, and that was the first voice I ever did for Howard Stern, and that's why I went, what?
Wait a minute.
No,
My phone would have
repertoire's
told me.
Dying off.
Hold on. Let me check my
Oh,
notifications.
trust me, it's you can Google it. You know.
I could Google it, but my phone always tells me everything before. Like my phone got. I
No,
had
that's
tape delayed.
Lisa.
Yeah, I think you're a little confused there, Bob.
We're gonna get to that. I don't see
Lisa,
anything about. All right,
the
Jimmy
sexy
Carter.
one
Hold
with
on.
blonde hair. The phone has no hair.
Hang on. Jimmy Carter.
Watch, up comes liver pills or something.
No, he's just entered hospice. Seriously, dude.
Really?
Yeah,
I,
Paul
I,
was
That's
just
what I
walking
heard.
across Abbey Road
Fake-
with bare feet.
fake news.
He
Fake
wasn't
news.
dead. What made you think that?
My sister was watching TV, and I kind of glanced by, and I heard he had been in hospice for so long, and I just my mind deduces things as I'm working.
Yeah.
Martin said, at the time I turned you guys on, Jimmy was still alive.
Okay.
And here's the thing, though. The spoiler alert is turn off your phone if you ever don't want to know something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Ignorance is bliss.
But Jimmy, obviously,
Great man.
if you watch this program on demand,
Mm.
he may be, yeah. And by the way, great man.
First president I ever voted
Terrible
for.
president, but a good man. Yes.
Yes.
What'd you
I
think,
agree.
Sean?
Oh, he was the first president I voted for. First time I voted.
Yeah. Setting aside all liberal and conservative stuff and all of that, I did some reading about his presidency, and of course, at this time, it's going to be pretty fair and balanced. He did accomplish quite a few things, but his approval sunk on the Iranian hostage crisis.
The
And you
visuals
don't
were-
think somebody screwed with him on that one?
Yeah,
That they kind of that was a kind of a dirty trick to make him look bad.
who would do that in politics? Absolutely.
That never
Everybody.
happens.
Yeah. So, so I look at the sum total of a guy's life and what a good man he was.
Mhm.
You got me thinking that by the time people hear this, he might have passed. So I need to talk like he has. But I look at a guy like that, and I don't care what party you're in. I think he's a great man, and was probably a great president. And I think when he passes away,
Yeah,
only then will you read some honest reporting of, because I don't think you're going to turn on Fox and go, all the ways Jimmy Carter screwed things up and created a situation where Biden could exist. You should actually do that as Rush Limbaugh.
And
I'll give you the whole screen to get it.
Anybody who befriended Greg Allman and the Allman Brothers Band as a promotional vehicle when he was campaigning for president is okay by me. I saw him in
Carter did
Providence.
that, really?
I saw him at the Providence Civic Center. He came out before the Allmans did, and I'm Jimmy Carter. I'm running for president. It was really cool. Cool guy.
I saw him a video of him a couple of years ago, he's 90 billion years old and still out there hammering wood to help build
habitat.
homes.
Yeah.
If I had a hammer, I'd work for humanity.
Keep going.
If I had
You've got the whole screen now. See,
No,
this is a subtle thing I'm doing here. That once you have the whole screen, you are on the spot.
now I've got a bell, and I've got a song to sing. And this has gotten rusty. He hasn't been around in a while, but it was the very first one I did for Howard Stern when he was in Detroit, because his sucked, and I knew he needed help.
Oh, so you actually did that voice for Howard?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
At W4. I mean, not, over the phone, not on the air, because they changed format.
Got it. Okay, a couple of things. Let's move to our next topic. I'm a terrible driver.
I agree.
Every one of you has been in the car with me. Speak your mind.
You speak like a truck. You drive like a truck driver. I had a girlfriend whose dad had a 20-speed transmission, and you don't have those speeds, but you still drive like you do. On, off, on, off.
I found it was more rhythm related.
Was it?
With these tapping on the gas
Sean's
pedal.
right.
I never
because,
thought of that.
Sean's absolutely right. Thank you for. You're not defending me. You're throwing me under the bus. But
No, I'm just saying how it is.
Well, he
It's
had
not
a
good or
musician.
bad.
and you should know this. And I don't know if this is abnormal or if Zip has this, but Zip is obviously going to take a pee break. And that happens. You get four old white guys this old, and did you have to go take a pee break?
No, I'm
Water.
adjusting the camera
Sip
angle.
it.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
working.
Oh, I thought you were adjusting.
I'm working on the visuals.
So I don't know if Zip will back this up because he's a musician, but I always have music running through my head. I would say literally, I don't know how much of the day, but whenever, like not now when I'm talking in a conversation,
Right. But whenever your mind is
but
idle.
whenever I'm doing something meditative like driving or hiking or sitting around daydreaming, in fact, the strangest songs just pop out of nowhere, and then they're called earworms. Zip, do you always have music in your head?
Not all the time. It's dangerous for me to listen to music when I'm driving, though, because I have a tendency to accelerate.
Okay.
I do.
But Sean nailed it because that's what I'm doing. When I'm driving, I'm going,
He's hearing foot
I'm
stomping
going-
music.
bum, bum, bum. Another one rides the bus. Boom, bum, bum, bum. And by the way, I only dream in parody. So that's the way it goes.
Yeah.
But so someone will go, why are you taking your foot on and off the pedal? And I'm like, because it's my kick drum. And I do that.
Only Bob can take a vehicle that gets 50 miles to the gallon and get it down to 12.
Yeah. Well, not anymore. But anyway, as bad of a driver as I am, I love my wife and I'm her chauffeur. She's a horrible driver and a worse passenger. She overhears this. She might come. I don't
I
think
was
she would.
just wondering that.
Yeah.
I'm
Did she
waiting for
hear you right now?
a frying pan to come into this picture and hear Clune.
Yeah. At this point, I've had a terminal illness, so I even said this to her yesterday. There's really nothing you could do to scare me anymore. So I'm actually
Back in the deck, Rivers.
I'm a little because I've already looked down the abyss. No, but hear me out. Yesterday we went to the Valley of Fire. Anyone who's been to Vegas might know what the Valley of Fire is. There's Red Rock Canyon, which is tremendous. The park with great hiking. The Valley of Fire is a Nevada And I said it right, by the way. I keep saying Nevada.
I am the Valley of Fire, and I say Nevada.
Da-da-da. Sorry. You went.
I want you to burn, 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 burn.
No. You went to the Valley of Fire.
And we went to the Valley of Fire. And if you've never heard of this, the ones, Bryce Canyon and Zion National Park, the ones in Utah get all of the publicity. But the Valley of Fire is pretty cool and very much in league with these places. And Lisa said, as she always says, because we've been all over the globe, you never take me anywhere. And I said, well, where do you want to go? And she saw this, and God bless her, because she sees things.
Yeah.
Like if I say, hey, this is a good movie. No, I don't want to see it. It's probably crap. But if someone on CBS Good Morning says it's a good movie, then, we're going to see it. And so someone on TV showed the Valley of Fire. And she said, I want to go to the Valley of Fire. I'm like, okay, we'll go. And then she said, the 3 words I fear most, I'm going to drive. And I thought,
Dun, dun, dun.
I said,
That is the
okay.
Valley of
And
Fire.
yeah. And so she drove. And here's the thing, as bad as I am, and I'm an admitted bad driver, I am the second worst driver in my marriage.
Yeah, I'm doing the math. That's real easy.
Lisa, all of this within one day, can drive with her knees, eat, surf the web, and make videos in a moving vehicle while doing all of the other things. Oh, look at that Valley of Fire. That is gorgeous. Hang on. I'm like, and by the way, I use the argument that never works in any marriage. 3 of us are married now. You're cohabitating. Actually, 2 of us are married, 2 cohabitating, but this argument never works. How would you feel if I did that? Ever work?
No.
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 And I'm like, she was like, she's actually used this phrase too. She's like, I have the skill. You don't.
Well,
And-
there is science behind what she's claiming, though, because the hemispheres on the female brain allegedly talk to each other and network far better than the male brain. So we're left or right, and never the twain shall meet, whereas they're able to combine.
To be
What's that?
continued when we have brain scientist John Medina on the show.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's not. I mean, I'm sure there's differences.
I've
He'll-
actually heard
yeah.
that one.
Yeah. I've heard that the election was stolen.
Come on. Come on. There's
Anyway,
no equation there.
So we get there, and literally I am frazzled by the time we get there. And but I also know that. So when I drive, here's the thing: I'm a people pleaser. So when I'm driving, I am on my best behavior when she's in the car. If she's not in the car,
You're a smart
I'm
man.
tapping away to the best beat music of all time. But if she's in the car, every moment I'm trying to make it a smooth ride for her. And she's essentially taunting me at this point because she's enjoying that I'm uncomfortable.
I love that girl.
Oh, but we get there, and I'm going to use a picture of the Valley of Fire. And by the way, this is exciting for me because I'm about to go to New England. So to get a really cool hike in and do that was fun. And we took a 3-mile hike amongst some of the most beautiful boulders ever. I mean, and mountain vistas, and the rocks are orange. You know how you've seen pictures of
Like Red
Bryce
Rocks,
and Zion
yeah.
and Red Rock Canyon. It just absolutely. I mean, we just kept whipping out our cameras. I've got a zillion pictures, and it was just freaking awesome, just wonderful. And
Well, you realize who the ultimate artist is when you see that kind of stuff, don't
God,
you? Yeah.
no one ever says that.
You just did.
Yeah.
Thank you for noticing that, Sean.
Yeah. But I mean, it's not like, good evening, look at this beautiful canyon, you should go. You know, God made that. It doesn't happen. So it was great, and it was perfect temperatures. and we headed back. And I just thought about, well, I would leave and make maple syrup. I announced a few days ago that I was making maple syrup.
Mm-hmm.
And so I should say that everyone thinks I'm already in Vermont because we're pre-selling the syrup. But Hank is making it, and I join him Saturday. And I was
You've been
thinking,
helping
like,
him virtually, though, have you not? Been assisting?
oh, we call it SAP TV. Well, we have a camera set up at the farm, and I can't believe the wonderful people who bought the farm. And I'm glad I didn't buy the farm because last year it looked like I was going to buy the farm.
I'm laughing
Pull my
now.
finger again on that joke. Okay. Anyway, the people who purchased the farm said we would like to find a way to keep what?
He's laughing at the dad jokes.
I'm
Just
just
let him
thinking.
go.
Well, no. And SAP TV, it's right up there with Dr. Pimple Popper.
Yeah.
SAP TV.
Well, let me show you this though. Seriously, let's see if you can see that. That is a maple syrup sap releaser. There is a pump that pump, and I'll get a picture or something. But anyway, I can watch the sap flowing and going into the tank. Hank and I can tell each other when it's time to do it, and also
You had eyes on every aspect of that operation.
well,
as I recall.
because during the pandemic, I had to do it as a one-man show.
Right.
And it's really a three-man job. So there is Hank. Oh, I wish I could just, hello. There's Hank in the syrup room right now, walking around, boiling sap as we speak on my phone.
Another member of the SAP cartel.
Exactly.
Are those do you have the notices on your that you're recording live all the time? So
Yeah.
when someone's in your SAP room, that they know that they're on video?
No,
Or
but
that's all
my
hidden.
lawyer should draw up a release form. So,
No, you put a sign on the entry is what you
Yeah,
have.
you really should.
so we had
No, you really
posted
should.
about about the because you are under surveillance. We had posted about the maple syrup. Thank you, Robert. Robert ordered some. We had posted about it and pre-selling it an amount that we think is probably what we're going to get for the season, and it's more than half sold already. So if you're interested, feel free.
Well, I'm in
To
Canada.
be
I can
honest
get
with
it on
you.
the black market.
You can get it at Costco cheaper. There's a million ways to get it cheaper. But
good.
well, I know how they make corporate syrup.
Reveal, Bob. Risk your life.
Oh, I meant to do this. So maybe I don't want to say anything. It's all good syrup. It's all wonderful. But this is small batch syrup. So each day is how the tree was feeling that day.
Yes.
When the
cat's
big
in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and a man in the moon. Sorry.
I stuffed the dough in my shirt.
when the small farms make it, you tap the trees, you boil that down. You do take some of the water out of the sap using a process called reverse osmosis, but some, not a ton. The big factory farms take almost all the water out, and then they boil it for an abbreviated period of time, and then it all goes into a big ugly warehouse, and eventually before they send it to Costco. I'm actually doing a sell job here. Before they send it to Costco, they blend it so it's all the same color and it has product consistency.
Yes.
It's still maple syrup. It still has the same sugar content. The locals feel that by boiling for longer, you caramelize it more and you get a better taste. And almost everyone who has bought
I'm a big fan
Bob
of
and Lisa's maple syrup.
Plug.
I don't know. You get me started with a new toy. Anyway, but you've had it. You've all had it. So
Oh yeah, it's
You know,
good.
it's
It's
good.
very
You sound like the Vermont version of Walter White, as far as Walter White, Breaking Bad.
Hold on, Ed. Before you do this, I know this is going to be good, so I'm going to give you the full screen, like a Super Bowl commercial. I've got
What's your
maple
partner's
syrup.
name?
Hank. Go.
Hank, don't you understand? We have a cook. We have a fan outside, and we have a customer base. I make the best product available. Do you understand the purity of what I've got? It's not blue. It's not gray. It's clear. It's the best there is. Now get over here and get the cook done. Damn it!
Okay. Good
What I
Walter
look
White.
like, Brian.
The Super Bowl commercial was the other guy telling him to make different kinds of Doritos. I don't remember what it was, but it was just entertaining. to
Jesse.
see.
Yeah.
That Jesse.
Jesse
I interviewed
Pinkman.
that actor once who did Jesse, by the way.
Jesse Pinkman, right?
Yes,
The
thank you.
character's name?
He was amazing. He was my favorite character in the show.
Chops. They've got chops.
Yeah. He had another movie out. I don't think it did much, but
Cool out, Bob.
yeah. Okay.
You know, it's tough. You have that kind of a character, that, imposing a character, to lose that when you go for casting for other stuff, correct?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
you
It's
get
like being
picked.
Leonard Nimoy. I'm sorry,
Kinda
Spock. What did you say?
Who's Leonard Nimoy? What show was he on, Bob? I don't recall. Did he have
It's gonna.
round ears, pointy ears, square ears? What ears did he have?
Yeah.
Were they big and black like yours are now, Bob?
Let's bring on Sean's official portion of the show, because there's a couple things we want to update with Shawn Alexander, our attorney friend. Also, by the way, Spike may or may not pop in at some point. But the news about Bob, Spike, and Joe is we're going to do. Joe had fun the last few times, and so Bob, Spike, and Joe, we're going to do a couple of nostalgia shows where we tell some stories, and I think that Spike and Joe and I will record one this week. And fingers crossed, that'll all come together. So Shawn Alexander has been on the show a few times talking about just giving us perspective on legal issues. And as a long-term, decades long friend and nice attorney, that is a phrase.
It's a thing.
It's an actual thing.
He doesn't have a bruise on his nose from chasing ambulances.
With empathy, who cares about people? Again,
Yes.
a full sentence that actually exists. And anyway, we have been helping this friend of mine, Mark, who's a subcontractor, handyman type that I met out here in Vegas. And I knew that Mark was struggling financially, as apparently there's a lot of people in this country that struggle financially. I usually don't get to know any of them.
Gilligan,
Yes.
Gilligan, bring Bob another drink.
So anyway, I just got to like this guy, and then he explained that he was off the grid. He was hand to mouth. He's taking care of his hospice, almost hospice. I think his mom has whatever she has. What a lot of old moms have. Anyway, I don't want to get personally into her, but he told me at one point he had to do cash, couldn't have a bank account. Has one of those month by month phones, and when someone gives him a check, when someone gives him a check, he has to go down to the check cashing service where they take
25%.
8%.
8%? It's higher than that, I think.
Is
It's
it
higher than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're bandits.
My brother used to run one of those places.
Your brother's a bandit.
He was. He's a nice reform guy now.
Really? Good.
And so,
That's
how do those work,
predatory.
Sean?
So predatory.
Pardon me?
How do those work? They basically just take people that don't have the credentials to get their check cashed and skim a ton of money off them, right?
Skim's a harsh word.
Yes.
They cover their infrastructure costs.
Yeah. Is vig a harsh word too? They get their vig. Isn't that what-
That's a
big up front.
traditional word. That has traditional meanings.
Anyway, so
Oh, man.
Hey, you want the vig up front or what? You want to stay alive? You want a meal? You want me to serve you a broken leg of lamb? What the hell? Come on, come on, bring me another drink, damn it! I gotta deal with these assholes.
you should stay on the mic when you're doing these voices. When you're at your sister's house,
Yes.
your other mic. This mic is made for pop stars who are
This
singing. at
mic is made for pop stars, and Bob, you ain't one.
Okay. You know what I'm
Okay,
saying?
okay.
When
You know what
go
I'm saying?
When you go off mic, you completely disappear.
Yeah, well, I was turning sideways too.
So Anyway, so we have been on with an accountant, Jeremy, who's a great viewer of this program and listener, and Shawn, and basically steered Mark to getting right with the IRS. I helped him with some of the computer stuff. And just so you know, the update, because it's an ongoing story, like when we had Tammy hiking the Appalachian Trail. He's credentialed now. He's got a Social Security account, can look at what was reported that he made over the years. Any of you can do this if you haven't, ssa.gov, I believe. And then I did the harder one with him, which is the IRS has a website. And this is relatively new. Instead of mailing to get the documents, which Shawn had talked about, you can actually do it on your computer. Although, in order for you to get an IRS, I think it's irs.gov, they have you set up a me.com ID.com or something like that. You'll find it out. And to do that, you got to look in your computer's webcam and it scans your face like
takes your coordinates
8 different ways for a long time. And then it searches its database for known pictures of you. And it's the government. Although they probably make a deal with Zuckerberg.
And that should be surprising to you. Why?
Right. No, because information has value and we're surrendering all of our information. It's being bought and sold at will by these internet companies. We'll get to the internet part of this. So I just want to update you on Mark. So it turns out the IRS has all of his records, all of his 1099s for the last 10 years, which is the amount of time I think the statute of limitations covers. So they have, I believe, and we'll check with Jeremy. So I believe they have everything he needs to file amended tax returns.
The statute of limitations. How does that happen?
3 years on, 3 years on getting money back. The money he could have gotten as a refund, he's given as a gift to the United States government. He works for some companies and they took out taxes and kept them. And,
This is the nature of taxes.
Yeah.
They will be paid.
And you will die. I don't know if you've heard that expression.
Death and tax.
Oh.
George Bailey, you're worth more dead than alive.
And for anyone that didn't hear the program, the thing that triggered this was he was a bartender and they said you owed a whole bunch of money on our estimated tips and he didn't have the money and he was just afraid of the IRS, which a lot of people are. I am too, which is why I'm a wimp who never tries to get away with anything. That's how I handled it, and I also paid other people to do the work for me. Gilligan, yes, go ahead, do the thing.
Hal would never run from the IRS. He would only walk very quickly.
Yeah, Chewbacca's one of my favorite characters of all time.
Oh, Magoo, you've done it again.
Did it again.
Yes.
Roadhog.
So anyway, that's the update, Shawn. We're at the point now where I think he has to sit down with an accountant and just bang out file those taxes. And it might cost a little bit. I may trade him for some money.
It'll be worth it. He'll get enough money back that he would pay the accountant.
So that's the update on that, and we'll keep you posted. And if you, why do my lips not stick with the words? I've got a camera and a lighting issue today, and I'm not gonna worry about it. But there is something going on. I'm not using my DSLR.
Pretend it's the moonshot.
I felt bad that my camera always looks so much better than Zip's.
So he downgraded.
I downgraded it. It's a work in progress.
I think Zips looks fine.
Anyway, so Shawn, the other stuff to talk
Keep
about.
talking. You guys keep talking. I'll be back in a second.
Uh-oh.
All right.
Well, he's gonna.
So
I smell
you
revenge.
asked me.
Yes.
Okay. You asked me a couple of questions.
Yes, Shawn, you're up.
No revenge.
And so and one of them was about things that are still messed up that I see from the pandemic.
Yes, even though hardly anyone's wearing masks now, and
it has more to do than just masking.
Yeah, but there are things. Let's get rid of it.
Let me give you first a practical one.
Okay.
The amount of labor, our labor pool, got shrunk. It got shrunk all of a sudden. And some of those people aren't coming back. So what happens is we can't get the kind of services. Have you tried to get a building permit done? Because the building industry got hit pretty hard, and the regulatory industry over the top of that, getting building permits, getting inspections, that is terrible. That's still strongly affected.
It's still a cluster. Yeah.
Deliveries now, FedEx has a big excuse, or a big what do they call it, guarantee. And I had to get some stuff to a judge in Arizona, and there's big books full of stuff, and I have to get it there 2 weeks ahead of time. And so 2 weeks and 3 days, I put it in overnight. I paid several $100s to have it there. It took a week and a half. And so then I thought, okay, well, at least they got the guarantee, so I get my money back. And I give all that paperwork to my wife, and she says, oh, they suspended the guarantee during the pandemic.
During the pandemic. Okay. Yeah.
Had I wanted to be a week late, I would have paid $20. So those are the specific things. Here's one that's overarching, and I predicted it a long time ago. We measure the basis of wealth and value of property based on their income. And that income requires us to be able to either foreclose on the property if we need to, or evict tenants. But those are court-ordered processes in most cases. I'm directly involved with that. When the pandemic hit, they stopped doing that. And they took some time, and they redrafted the rules for landlord-tenant laws, at least in Washington state, where we had 3 lengths of notice. Now we have 14 different lengths of notice. Even
So
the
you
guys
can't
who've been
kick
doing,
someone out. This was one of the pandemic things. You can't really evict someone, and that's still going on?
yes, it's still going on, but that not only did it change, but they changed the rules. And because they changed the rules, people don't know what they're doing. And that includes the judges. I mean, and we in Washington provided a new service that says, if you're facing an eviction, you're entitled to an attorney, just like a criminal would be entitled to an attorney. So they put this process in place, but they don't really have the infrastructure for it to happen. But it's still, because the process is in place, people can't get the evictions through the courts as quickly.
You know, and everybody's screwed in that scenario, right? Because the guy who owns the place probably can't make his nut because he's not liquid because he's not being paid, and the guy that isn't working hasn't got the rent. It's
Everybody gets screwed.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing: the bank can't
22.
foreclose.
No, not legally.
The bank can't foreclose. So what we did is we took our value, how we value property, and we trashed it. So now, if you're a landlord, you can't collect the rent. If you're a tenant, you can't get the job you need to make the money. The bank can't foreclose properly. Now these things are working their way up, but they're still screwed up. It's majorly screwed up. I have not taken a case in landlord-tenant. When they changed the law, I'm like, I don't know that off the top of my head. I'm not going to spend my time learning it all over.
So what you're saying, Shawn, is that squatting is basically legal right now.
Well, no, it's not legal, but it's easier to get away with.
Which is not the same as legal. However, to some people, it's exactly the same as legal. You know, people who don't
advantage.
have empathy or care about other people and want to get as much for themselves as they can, or people that are just dumb and can't play by the rules because they're dumb. What are some of the other reasons people would do that?
Agreed.
Well, they're hiding. They don't.
Right.
They don't want to be found, or they're crazy.
There's that.
So what you had predicted at the beginning of the pandemic was that things would get out of kilter. You were the first person to tell me that supply chains would be disrupted and this would last for years, by the way, the first person to say it. And now, even though there's a sense of somewhat normalcy, there are a whole bunch of things that are not normal. I was on the way back from the Valley of Fire with Lisa yesterday, and we started listening to satellite radio. And someone was on the radio who I hadn't heard in many years. I don't know if you're all familiar with her, Dr. Laura. Schlesinger.
Oh yeah, very, very much so.
Are you? Okay.
Yeah,
Zip
love
is
her
back.
naked pictures, by the way.
Who had the pool? That was a fraction of a second. All right. so Dr. Laura Schlesinger is still on the radio. She's on satellite.
she
I
is.
did not know
Yeah.
that.
I
And
did.
she's still a mean,
She's nasty.
nasty person
B
to
word.
everyone.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Why anyone would call into her
It's abuse.
is abuse. But that answers it, because some people want abuse, some people pay extra
Well,
for
they're
it. So
I think half our callers are into self-flagellation. I really do. Just
yeah.
whipping
Zip,
themselves.
you look great, Zip. That's a much better camera.
It's actually the same one I've always had.
What happened?
Yeah.
You got
He
better
had
lighting.
surgery.
Right? Something.
Better? Well, a little better. No. And I told you I upgraded to 5G Verizon
Hey.
gateway internet.
Your internet is not cutting out. That's good. So anyway, we're listening to Dr. Laura, who I hadn't heard in forever, and I assume these were old programs because cheating husbands, kids out of wedlock, nasty mother-in-laws. I mean, that's evergreen material, right? You don't have to keep having the same conversation. But no, she's 76 and she's still doing it. And anyway, I'm listening to her program, and it's entertaining even if you hate her. And I don't hate
Well,
her.
Yeah, but she becomes the person you love to hate.
I was like, how long before she lays into this person for how stupid they
Yes.
are? And
Yes.
it's faster sometimes than Ed was remembering her naked pictures. That's how fast it was. Because
Can't get it out of my head.
well, like Rush Limbaugh said, drug dealers should go to jail. Drug users should be prosecuted. And
Oxy, by the way, can I have some more Oxycontin, please?
right.
I'm sorry.
So-
what was I saying about drug dealers?
So anyway, so out of the blue, and I hadn't heard her in 10 years. She's in the National Radio Hall of Fame, by the way. She's
Yeah.
she's a bona fide radio star, Dr. Laura. She used to work on the Buzz, which was the FM station at Cairo where Spike works, and Spike will be on with us shortly. And so anyway, I'm listening to Dr. Laura, reminded just how vitriolic she is, and a commercial comes on. The commercial was for a pandemic-related service for free money for your business if you stayed open and kept employees open during the pandemic. The government trough, I'm sorry, is trough the right word? By the way, Spike's never got an opinion on politics. Is trough
There
the
he
right
is.
word, Spike?
Yes, I believe when you're talking about hogs and pork, trough would be the right terminology.
Okay.
Pork.
So,
Good.
so the commercial basically says that if you kept
We
your
didn't give away all this money. We found money we haven't given away yet. Come on down to Money Town.
you got here just
We-
in time.
We're running them too.
Are you running them too?
Oh,
Yeah.
they're everywhere, yeah.
Oh, this shocks me because the economy is overheated in recovery. The Fed is attempting to put people out of work to bring things into balance,
Raise the debt ceiling.
and yet, but here's the part, the line in that commercial that got me, and you must be 100% familiar with it, Spike. Is and you front us no money. We just
Right.
take a portion of what we get out of the government trough.
Yes, no money up front. We will search the government coffers for money you qualified for and get that last heap and helping scoop of cash for you.
Sean,
Yeah.
this is a residual effect of the pandemic. How can this happen?
Well, much like Mark didn't do his taxes, some business owners didn't take full advantage of the possible money that was out there. Although I personally saw a lot of business owners take more than what they probably should have. And it was a little, I mean, I'm in a position where I can't rat them out because, well, they're my clients.
Yeah.
But it
Nobody's
kinda
listening
makes-
to this
Oops, that was
podcast.
even too much. But wait a
Come
minute.
on.
But it kind of burns me a little when they pull
This is-
Son,
that much
you,
money and just
you can rat him out. You just wake up dead.
that's right. Well, so I prefer that didn't happen.
You're gonna wake up dead.
So, and by the way, this has been in the news. A lot of people lied and got fraudulent money, and we got to go, figure them out. This all happened in the housing crisis too, when banks collapsed in 2000, or were gonna collapse in 2008. We bailed out a whole bunch of people, and nobody had to pay the piper. So this is another residual effect of the pandemic.
There was somebody who paid the piper, and it was the poor little guy who got the real high rate mortgages.
Yeah, I believe his name was Spike. Wasn't his name Spike? I think I know that guy.
It happened to a lot of people. It was a sad affair.
Sad. Spike once said something to me. He was in his house. It was a house he loved. Housing had collapsed. Is it okay if I tell the story? You probably tell it.
Sure.
You were underwater, and I was like, just declare bankruptcy and walk away and get it forgiven. And I don't know if you remember saying this, but you said, I can't do that. That's dishonest. I signed a contract.
I was born to love you.
You basically said, I made a commitment. I'm going to pay my loan. And I'm like, no one else is. And I both was impressed with your integrity
and laughed at my stupidity. Like those two masks, comedy, tragedy.
I like you too much to say it, so thank you for saying it for me. Say a little more about that.
Well, we didn't walk away from our house when it was underwater because we wanted, and it wasn't about my integrity. I appreciate you remembering it that way. That's kind of you. Head injuries last a long time, America. No, the deal was my kid was in school and I didn't want to uproot my kid. And I stopped at nothing to save our house and made our payments and kept going borrowed from our retirement funds to make our house payments, keep our insurance up to date, which helped when my house caught fire and when I had my heart attack. Of all the shit I didn't pay, of all the stuff I let languish, my insurance I never let languish. So there's that. Yeah. But now we've got $1 million in equity from underwater when everything collapsed in 2008.
That's what's on the other side of the gauntlet. Let me run it.
Yeah. I mean, and my kid spent her entire educational life in the same house with the same neighbors with the same kids in her class. And I would have done it. I would have sold the other testicle to do that. Of course, that wouldn't have got her into preschool, but other than that,
And your voice would be higher than hers at this point. You could sing castrati, Italy summer. That's a lot higher than that.
Well, you did it, and not everybody was able to stick it out. And a lot of people ended up losing their house anyway. And,
well, I mean, if you're talking about like fraud, thank you. If you're talking about fraud. Let's go to the Pentagon where 30% of their budget is unaccounted for.
Right.
I mean, 30 fucking percent. Oh, sorry, pardon me. There's an F-bomb.
This was the first week with no F words.
Yeah, sorry. I almost made it.
Wait a minute.
I've been here 2 minutes.
You work on broadcast radio.
Yeah. I gotta spit him out now. You're like a snake bite. I come to the podcast. I cut my arm.
Okay.
And a tourniquet.
All right.
Oh man.
Reset. That never happened. Keep going.
Yes.
Yeah. No, seriously, the Pentagon can't account for like $1.3 trillion. They just don't know where it went. Okay. So I mean, of course, we talk about people who stole PPP money. Half of them are on oversight committees right now looking for Hunter's laptop.
Yeah.
So let's save everybody some time. Yes, he's a crackhead who nailed his dead brother's wife. Okay, on to bigger things. Good Lord.
I love how you summarize.
Yeah, he does have a way. He's a wordsmith. Yeah. Eloquence knows no end.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is a nice segue into what we were just going to talk about. And Spike, I'm glad you're here for this because it involves
bipartisanship and compromise. Great.
No,
not likely.
Shame and blame. That's us.
It's related a little bit to politics, but I don't think it is all about politics. And I want Shawn to weigh on this too. Zip and I were talking about this morning, and
cuddling
from time
the value of cuddling,
fly fishing.
Please.
By the way, anyone who hogs the show, there's a new rule today.
He gets zoomed.
You just get this, and you are a solo.
Oh, that'll stop me. That'll stop me from running up. Oh yeah,
that frightens everyone here but you. So I'm not going to do it to you.
It's the timeout square.
Just sing silver and gold every time he does it. Get it back.
Okay. So Zip brings this up all the time, and Zip, let's let you say it. You're amazed at the inability of people to tell fact from fiction.
Right. I watch a lot of crime TV, right? The crime shows. And it just blows me away that even though you can have a crime committed on videotape, there's a way to defend them. And for some reason, people are swayed by the lack of facts. And
give me an example of what you mean committed on, like there's evidence that makes it clear you're doing it.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, they're just swayed by bullshit and personality and.
Zip just violated the profanity rule. I think bullshit.
Silver and gold. Silver and gold.
So from an attorney's viewpoint, I mean, does that bother you at all, Shawn? You know, especially the celebrity attorneys, the high profile attorneys.
It does bother me somewhat. It's funny sometimes. I mean, it's just funny when people believe. Yeah, it's. I don't know. I find it. Yeah, I find it interesting, in that people, well, they just don't know what to believe, and they're waiting for someone to tell them. They can't make up their own mind.
There's a psychological need. There's a psychological need to be reaffirmed in what you believe is accurate.
Already, confirmation bias. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Someone likes Jews. That makes it hard to live without.
So if you get an alpha dog type in a jury room deliberating, that all bets are off, correct? That kind of thing.
Well, funny thing is, they don't let us in there.
I'm just saying.
Well, the movie 12 Angry Men, right?
Yeah.
Imagine that movie retold as one prejudiced bully who beats up 11 other people into believing that somebody is guilty, and they find the guy guilty. To Zip's point, he's exactly right.
I think that's a pretty regular occurrence.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I do know criminal law, because I'm kind of a skeptic. I started out in the prosecutor's office.
Criminal law. I should be like this for criminal law. You should blur my face up for this.
Yeah. Gee, Mr. Alexander, I hate to bother you, but.
One more thing.
Go ahead and do more of that. I like that one.
Yeah. Just before you go, you have rose-handled hunting knives in your garage, do you not, sir? Now, you know that rosewood cannot be harvested anymore legally. And yet, that was found in the trunk of your car, one of your hunting daggers with rosewood, which was made perhaps 6-9 months ago. Can you explain that, sir? Oh, one more thing. No, never mind.
One more thing.
One more thing.
Yes.
A guy with a name like Zip. Do you know any friends that are having specials on name changes?
Thanks.
Can I say something about this? And I just thought of this second in my most recent conversation with my friend John, the brain scientist. He said something that I think applies here. He said, we think we see with our eyes. We think we feel with our hands. We think we hear with our ears. But we do all of those things with our brain.
Ooh,
and
that's a mean.
Well, what it means is that, and brain scientists study this, and they're studying, fact versus what we perceive, and so we're one thing. I have hearing loss, pretty bad.
The earth is flat, Bob.
Thank you, but and I have hearing aids that boost certain frequencies. They aren't the exact correct frequencies, and it does not return any of my hearing. It just helps my brain with intelligibility. And then my brain, if I'm hearing a Led Zeppelin record, perhaps you'd like to do a different impression, Ed. It could be any record. If I'm hearing a song, Spike, you could do this too. I hear it the same way I heard it at 25 years old when my brain and my ears worked perfectly. But what my brain does is it says, well, the ears are not giving us all the information. So we're filling in what we know it should be. And when it comes to the news, when it comes to politics, when it comes to these Dateline true crime shows that Zip watches, people out there aren't they don't have lawyers spend hundreds of hours and tons of time gathering tons of evidence, but you only have time to think about what you want to think about and hear what you want to hear and make a decision. And you're making it, I think, with your emotions, with your brain, what it thinks it should be based on what's presented. One of the things you said to me earlier today, Zip, was that, and then Shawn, you can comment on this. A great attorney, or I should say a really skilled one, can take someone who's got a videotape of them axe murdering their wife and come up with a plausible reason why that's not what happened.
Reasonable
Shawn.
doubt, yes.
Yes.
Deep fake, I'm telling you. Do you know what they can do with digital media these days? That could be anybody. I mean, it could be his head planted on another body for that murder scene. It could be part of a high school play that somebody just transferred onto there, for all we know. Do you hear me, ladies and gentlemen of the jury? Do you hear me? Do you feel me?
I feel you.
Thank you, Shawn. I'm sorry, Ed cut you off, but go ahead.
No. I was just saying that what he's describing is the idea of reasonable doubt, is to bring that reasonable doubt. Most of the time, I work in civil cases, and our standard is not reasonable doubt; it's a preponderance of the evidence, and that just means more. I have more.
That's why OJ lost in the civil case. But and Zip, you mentioned OJ, right? That's why he lost in the civil case.
Lost the criminal case. Yeah, he won the criminal case, lost the civil.
He was found. They was found not guilty, and he wasn't guilty, and then he was liable on the other one. And the libel one is he owes the money, and that's the preponderance of evidence standard that I normally work with. If I can get 3 witnesses to something or 3 sets of documents, I'm better off than with just 2, even if they all say the same thing.
Well, but Bob's talking about something much more dark and dangerous.
I understand.
It's not even reasonable doubt. It's not believing your eyes anymore.
It's
don't believe what your eyes see and what your ears hear. Just what the dear leader tells you to believe.
And the court system has a process to deal with that. And if the jury finds opposite of what the actual evidence shows, the judge can overturn that type of verdict. You have to make that move. You have to ask for that when that happens. But there's a process there. And lawyers know this. But you would ask for a verdict notwithstanding the jury's outcome. And
Shawn,
that's because they didn't. Go ahead.
Is that why you cut lawns for the Majesties on the weekends to gain favor?
I wash their boats.
Yeah.
I served a potato. Good smash.
A moment ago, we heard.
How often does that happen, though, Shawn? I'm just curious.
It's extremely rare.
Yeah,
I thought
it's
so.
extremely rare because the jury has to be bullied, like we were just with the 12 Angry Men. The jury has to make a decision that's opposite to what the facts say, and then the judge can overturn that. But never happened in anything that I've had to do. I've never seen it.
I do want to shout out to Amy Ulan, who just commented for us as well. She is a listener of the program for many years ago.
He's on point.
Yeah, she says our brains are powerful, which is why visualization works. In other words, I don't think we all even have an idea how powerful our brain is. I think the brain has amazing healing powers that we haven't harnessed. I think that we can talk ourselves into anything, sometimes good, sometimes bad, if we want to, bad enough. And I think that, and this is why I worry about Chat GPT and artificial intelligence and the ability of I believe the human behavior code is not that difficult, especially if you have, like, for example, I could not beat a computer at chess.
No.
And almost no human being could. And yet, everything today, you can?
I can do it.
Howard Stern.
I play chess all the time. I can do it. Trust me.
Although you could beat a chessboard with a computer, Bob. See, it's kind of turning.
You could do that.
Not
Anyway,
in the park, though.
the point is that our behavior is way more predictable than we think
Yes.
with outside stimulus. And I think that we don't have enough emphasis on taking charge and being in control of our own lives. And really, it's a terrible business model for
Being a
anybody out
beta?
there
Yeah.
that wants to make money off of us.
Well, Bob, first off, you may not be able to play chess, but you can talk to people and you can talk them into doing things. And that is much more valuable. And when
I
you
rest
can-
my case. Look at this. Look at this collection of people on the screen.
Band of idiots.
Well, and what I was going to
Ne'er-do-wells.
say is that there are certain things that we do to help with what we call mind control. And it's plain and simple. And so if we have people repeat the same things over and over, if we have them stand up and sit down at the same time, if we have them listen to what we say and then repeat it back to us, those are all classic things that we do to help them understand.
And perhaps we could come up with a hypnotic device
to control their
that
thoughts.
they would
to
put
limit
in-
what they see.
We've been doing that in radio. We've been employing those techniques by telling everybody that we're number one, because if you say it enough times, they will eventually believe you, even if it's not true.
That's gentle
very
compared
true.
to what
Very
I
true.
think can happen now.
Yes.
And be thoroughly automated by, but you're right. Madison Avenue's been in the business of convincing us that Tarryton is better, charcoal
it's
is why.
way older than Madison Avenue. It's
and way more dangerous than Madison Avenue too, man.
Yeah. Oh, the new stuff? Yeah, I think maybe. I mean, I think so.
okay. So, but it's been around a lot longer. Churches do it.
Yeah.
They get
Oh,
you to
yeah.
sing the
It's
same
called
song, stand up
indoctrination,
and
right?
sit down. That's right, and they tell you to believe it.
Hey, churches got you to elect a president who's cheated on his second or third wife while she was pregnant and paid a porn star.
yeah.
I mean, churches could get you to do that.
Don't know
An axe
why
murder should be easy, right, Zip?
we ever elected this guy, Stormy Daniels.
All right. Very good. Last thing, and we are going nice and long today. Last thing I wanted to do is just a quick health update because people do ask me from time to time. And it's
I'm
all
fine.
good.
Thanks for asking.
That's good for you. Actually, you're my heart attack friend. Are you good? Is everything good?
Every day above the grass is another good day, Bob.
Amen. Amen.
Look at him.
I mean, and Zip, you've had a year.
Yeah.
It's pretty good right now, right?
Zero effects. Yes. Very fortunate.
Shawn Alexander, you work hard helping people, and I think it keeps you healthy, right? That and the Lipitor, right?
And my wife cooking.
Yeah.
She's very healthy cooking and walking and all that.
That's all good stuff. Ed Kelly, you have found that by being with someone 1/3 your age, you have
I
to
guess
find
that
it.
you're as young as the woman you feel, Bob.
Yes.
The 20th is 3 years, 3
Man.
years.
Anyway, my news
Plus,
is all.
plus
all
constant body cavity searches at the border will keep a man young.
It stimulates the colon.
yes.
Customs know when Ed has polyps before any doctor will.
They always blow me a kiss when I leave, though.
A case of border polyps. That's great.
I'll just say I'm fine. Everything's good.
No. We've got time, Bob. We've got time.
He's so fine.
It's all been amazingly good, and I'm very blessed. In fact, what we notice is as we're getting older, we're more dealing with other people departing. I mean, with Jimmy Carter is
Hospice.
obviously in hospice at the moment.
Yeah.
But literally, I've had to think in my even just planning and budgeting for trips I'm going to have to make that are, not vacations. Let me put it that way.
Right.
Yeah. When flowers won't do. Yeah.
And people are resting in peace. Anyway, so as someone asked me, does that mean we're old or is there more death? That was you, Zip, this morning we were talking. Spoiler alert, we're old. But
And there's more death.
I'm going to say the baby boomers swell is also,
Yeah.
what we're dealing with.
okay, that's it.
well.
Yeah. There's more of us
Yeah.
than the millennials. and the
And
X's and the
wedding-
Y's.
I was always taught weddings are optional, funerals are not. I like to bring my friends flowers while they're living. I really do.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you do just show up. It's not so much for the deceased as their family, their kids, their friends.
So I was thinking, I agree with you, by the way. I think the weddings are, I mean, there's so many things that are important. The grandchildren. I was at a daddy-daughter dance. By the way, I felt like you, Spike, because I've never had daughters. And they're, they're 6 and 8 years old. And, it's a dance. And their dad was hurt. He had back, I think I talked about this last week, he had back problems. And I was just watching like multiple generations. What's that song? My Little Girl's Life or whatever that is.
A man in my little girl's life. Mike
Yeah.
Douglas.
And it's just fascinating to be a part of a generation. And then like now, if I think of any actor that I thought was hot, I go, wonder what she looks like now at 65.
Kiss
I,
me,
I
baby.
saw I saw a picture of Carly Simon the other day that broke my heart.
Why?
She
It's
saw a picture of
Tina.
you. It did the same thing to her. She
I
was
know.
like, what happened to Spike?
I'm not claiming any high ground
Okay.
here.
I'd
I'm just
rather,
saying,
I'd rather she go that way than Madonna, who looks like a Roma tomato.
well, Madonna is Janice from the Muppets band.
Okay.
Okay, come on.
No. Yeah.
She
All right,
is.
we are-
Look at them side by side. I'm telling you.
Their
If you're
choices.
still with us, by the way, we're really classing it up right now.
We're so woke. Welcome to the woke show, folks.
Yeah. But also I saw Goldie Hawn shot the other day with what's her
Her daughter. Yeah.
Kate Hudson.
No, her
Kate
Hudson,
Kate
yes.
Hudson and Russell
Kurt
Kurt Russell. Thank you. And great family. And I'm like, they got old too. I mean, I literally when I see the pictures, I'm almost surprised.
Because you remember
Yeah.
the TV version.
I do,
That's
and that
what they-
version,
yeah, absolutely.
Forever
that
Young.
version,
Your brain, your brain will fill in those versions too. So that's great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mike is
You don't
up
need, to
for
carry,
it.
don't need to carry Gilligan's Island into the shower. Mary Ann's waiting for you.
all right. Well, anyway,
that's
God bless you all, and every day is a blessing, and it's a
Amen.
Except when
it's
Spike's
thrilling
funnier
to
than
see. It's thrilling to be here.
Well, hold on before you
And
leave.
yeah.
That last text is so true that women aren't allowed to age gracefully in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Sean Connery was farting dust and was still distinguished.
What's your problem, you son of a bitch?
Love it.
I'll cut you in two and eat your liver
Yeah.
for lunch.
I do think that more women do a better job of aging, and the guys just let themselves go because we think we have that guy permission to look like crap. One of my Facebook friends is a gal who we interviewed many years ago, and she was the Playboy Playmate of the Month. I don't know if you remember her, and she was on our show, and she was from Washington, and she turned in, and by the way, she's still on the Facebook and turned into this real, and I don't know her personally or anything, but she and so many people I know, and this could be that we just put really fantastic Facebook pictures up too. I don't do that.
There's a lot of photoshopping going on.
I don't have any. No, but I mean, there's this thing like, do you care? I mean, some people are vain, some people do care. I don't. Like, I have friends who will be apologetic and say, I've just time has been hard. And I go, I don't care. You are you. You are this person. And like what Spike said, my brain. There's this one gala that was a friend of mine in high school, and she looks great, by the way, but she doesn't think so. And I said to her last year when I was making maple syrup, we had a visit, and I said, "You're always going to be 16 to me,
And that's true.
always." And even my wife, Lisa, is there's a few pictures of her I have vacationing on an island where clothing was optional. And I will
Manhattan.
tell her.
Coming up next week on the Bob and Zip Show, we're going to unzip with Ed Kelly and pictures from Bob.
Look, you all have mates that you love, and so you'd probably know exactly what I'm saying. To me,
Yeah.
she is that photograph no matter what. We are given this. My 12-step sponsor used to say this body that we're in is a spacesuit, and we get to wear it for a period of time. But it's just a spacesuit. It's not who we are. And so I'm embracing the old. Hey, it's a surprise I'm getting to do it.
Well,
So,
your friend
yeah.
Spike isn't. That's for damn sure. He just
Yeah.
finished taking a side out of me. Bastard. Pull it a scabbard
Anyway.
and chop your head off.
Good health and the best to everybody. Make every day count. All right. Thank you, John. Thank you, Christopher. Everybody else who's tuned in. Remember, you can watch this show on demand anytime. And we did a thing earlier about how if you watch it on YouTube, and like and subscribe, it's a little easier than digging through all these Facebook posts of what people had for dinner and trying to go back days if you're looking for it. And also you can sign up for our email at bobrivers.blog and we'll nag you, but we do not spam you. And let me make this promise. No, maybe I'm not gonna. I was gonna say we will not sell your information no matter how much is offered. But yeah, I mean, nobody's offering anything yet.
And if you want me to answer your phone, you better make it short.
That's the other thing. Ed Kelly will be happy to do a phone message for you guys if you go to the patreon.com/Bob Rivers and throw some money in the tip jar.
It's not here. Call back. Now shut up.
Whatever voice, run through a couple of your voices. What else you got? You got Mr. Haney's always one of my favorites.
Now that's an oldie but a goodie, right, Arnold?
Liam Neeson.
I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want. If it's your friend Bob, excuse me. If it's your friend Bob, he's not here right now.
How about Dr. Smith from Lost in Space?
Oh, dear. Don't ask me to do that voice. Oh!
The Bob and Zip Show with Ed Kelly.
Thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll see you next week.